Welcome back to Demolition Worker. Today we are taking apart the legendary military giant, the massive Lockheed C-5 Galaxy aircraft. This colossal transport plane has served for decades, moving troops and heavy cargo across the globe with unmatched aerial power. Now, its flying days are officially over. It sits silently on the tarmac, waiting for our heavy demolition crew. We brought our biggest grapple excavators to handle this beast, preparing for an epic showdown between modern machinery and metal. The sheer scale of this aircraft is absolutely breathtaking, casting a massive shadow over our entire specialized demolition work zone. Our operators conduct a thorough safety briefing before approaching the plane, ensuring every structural weak point is carefully mapped out. The most iconic feature of the C-5 Galaxy is its gigantic upward opening nose, designed for loading massive military tanks. This complex nose section contains heavily reinforced hinges and thick hydraulic systems that require immense precision to safely tear apart. Our primary excavator slowly rolls up to the front, raising its heavy steel claws toward the cockpit of the giant. The mechanical jaws open wide, preparing to clamp down on the reinforced aluminum frame just below the main pilot windows. With a deafening crunch, the steel teeth pierce the outer skin, sending a loud echo across the quiet demolition yard. Thick pieces of aerospace-grade aluminum start to bend and buckle under the relentless crushing pressure of our hydraulic excavator. We focus our initial attack on the massive hinge mechanism that once allowed the entire front nose to swing upward. This hinge is built from extremely hardened steel, designed to withstand immense aerodynamic stress during intense, high-altitude military flights. Our machine struggles slightly as the jaws try to grip the thick steel joints, slipping against the smooth, curved surfaces. The operator adjusts the angle of attack, bringing the heavy shear attachment right into the core of the mechanical hinge. Sparks erupt violently into the air as the cutting blades finally bite into the incredibly dense structural steel support beams. A loud metallic groan resonates from the fuselage as the main connection point finally snaps under the extreme hydraulic force. The massive nose section begins to sag, no longer supported by the hydraulic struts that held it proudly for years. Another excavator moves in from the side, grabbing the lower edge of the nose to stabilize the incredibly heavy structure. Working in perfect synchronization, the two giant machines carefully lower the severed front section onto the concrete pad below them. Dust billows up as the iconic nose hits the ground, marking the definitive end of this magnificent flying military fortress. Now that the front is removed, we can clearly see inside the cavernous cargo hold that once carried battle tanks. The interior is a complex maze of wires, insulation, and reinforced ribbing that must be systematically stripped and sorted out. Before we tackle the main body, we must process the fallen nose section, cutting it down into manageable scrap pieces. This is where we encounter a massive unexpected problem: the incredibly tough military-grade paint covering the entire outer fuselage. This specialized coating was engineered to resist extreme weather, chemical attacks, and intense friction during high-speed atmospheric flight paths. As our hydraulic shears clamp down on the painted panels, the blades slide and struggle to make a clean cut. The abrasive nature of this thick military paint acts like sandpaper against our expensive steel cutting blades, causing rapid wear. Within just a few hours of cutting, the edges of our heavy-duty shears have become noticeably dull and ineffective. We have to pause the demolition process completely to inspect the damaged equipment and swap out the worn cutting blades. Our maintenance crew rushes in with heavy wrenches and replacement parts, working quickly to get the giant excavator operational again. Replacing these massive steel blades is a dangerous and physically demanding job, requiring precision and intense teamwork from our mechanics. Once the new razor-sharp blades are securely installed, the excavator roars back to life, ready to resume the destruction. The operator changes tactics using the pointed tip of the shear to pierce through the tough paint before attempting cuts. This new method proves highly effective, allowing the powerful machine to bypass the hardened surface and slice the underlying metal. Thick strips of aluminum are peeled away from the frame, like the skin of a giant metallic fruit being harvested. The ground quickly becomes littered with jagged pieces of green and gray metal, waiting to be loaded into dump trucks. We shift our focus to the main fuselage, a massive cylindrical structure that requires a highly methodical approach to dismantle. The excavator reaches high into the air, bringing its crushing jaws down onto the central spine of the aircraft roof. A tremendous cracking sound echoes as the structural ribs snap, causing the entire middle section of the plane to shudder. We carefully tear away the outer skin, revealing the intricate skeletal framework that gave this legendary aircraft its incredible strength. Every piece of metal we remove is immediately grabbed by a smaller loader and sorted into designated recycling scrap piles. Military-grade aluminum is highly valuable, and separating it cleanly from steel and titanium components maximizes our overall salvage profit. The sheer volume of material coming off this single aircraft is staggering, requiring a constant rotation of heavy transport trucks. As we dig deeper into the belly of the plane, we encounter the massive landing gear bays and hydraulic systems. These areas are heavily reinforced with thick titanium blocks, putting our freshly installed cutting blades to the ultimate durability test. Sparks shower down like fireworks as the shears slowly bite through the dense titanium, screaming under the immense friction heat. The machine violently shakes as it wrestles with the stubborn landing gear assembly, determined to rip it from the frame. With a final explosive snap, the heavy titanium joint breaks free, crashing onto the concrete floor with a massive thud. We are now halfway through the demolition, and the once mighty C5 Galaxy is reduced to a hollow, broken shell. The demolition crew takes a brief lunch break, resting their tired eyes and discussing the unique challenges of this project. The afternoon sun beats down on the scrapyard, heating up the metal and making the work environment even more intense. We resume our assault on the remaining fuselage, bringing in a massive pulverizer attachment to crush the lighter aluminum sections. The pulverizer easily chews through the thin walls of the cargo hold, folding the metal into compact, dense scrap bundles. This attachment saves us countless hours, turning huge, bulky sections of the airplane into easily transportable cubes of crushed metal. However, the tough military paint continues to cause minor issues, clogging up the teeth of the pulverizer with sticky residue. Our ground crew frequently steps in with high-pressure hoses to blast the debris away and keep the machinery running. We slowly work our way towards the tail section, a towering structure that reaches over 60 feet into the sky. Taking down the tail requires extreme caution, as an uncontrolled collapse could severely damage our equipment or injure our workers. The lead excavator carefully nibbles at the base of the vertical stabilizer, weakening the structural supports on just one side. By strategically cutting specific beams, we can control exactly where and how the massive tail section will eventually fall down. The tension is incredibly high as the machine makes the final decisive cut through the main rear titanium support spar. For a split second, the giant tail hovers in the air, defying gravity before slowly beginning its inevitable downward descent. It crashes into the designated drop zone with a spectacular impact, sending a massive shockwave through the entire demolition yard. A thick cloud of dust and pulverized paint rolls across the tarmac, temporarily obscuring our view of the fallen wreckage. As the dust clears, the excavators immediately pounce on the downed tail, tearing it apart with renewed energy and speed. The horizontal stabilizers are ripped off and chopped into smaller segments, their tough internal ribs offering very little resistance now. We are constantly amazed by the intricate engineering of this aircraft, discovering hidden compartments and complex wiring harnesses inside it. Every single component was designed for maximum durability, making our job of destroying it an incredibly tough and demanding challenge. The final major section remaining is the massive wing box, the central structural core that held the giant wings together. This is the thickest, strongest part of the entire airplane, built from solid blocks of forged aerospace-grade titanium alloy. We bring in our absolute largest hydraulic shear, a monstrous attachment capable of cutting through solid steel like soft butter. Even with this massive tool, the wing box puts up a legendary fight, refusing to yield without a serious struggle. The excavator engine roars at maximum RPM, pumping thousands of pounds of hydraulic pressure into the heavy steel cutting jaws. Slowly, agonizingly, the thick titanium begins to crack, emitting high-pitched squeals of tearing metal that hurt the human ear. The sheer force required to break this section is mind-boggling, showcasing the incredible structural integrity of the C5 Galaxy. Piece by piece, the mighty wing box is reduced to jagged chunks of premium scrap metal, ready for the smelter. As the sun begins to set, casting a golden glow over the scrapyard, the demolition of the giant is complete. Where a majestic military transport plane stood just days ago, there is now only a vast, empty expanse of concrete. Mountains of sorted aluminum, steel, and titanium are neatly piled up, representing the valuable recycled remains of this magnificent machine. These materials will eventually be melted down and repurposed, perhaps finding new life in modern construction projects or commercial vehicles. The cycle of industrial life continues, transforming retired military assets into raw resources that will help build our future infrastructure. Our demolition crew gathers around the machines, visibly exhausted but incredibly proud of the massive, highly complex job they accomplished. Tearing down a C5 Galaxy is a rare privilege, a true test of skill, patience, and heavy mechanical cutting power. We faced unexpected challenges, from the incredibly tough military paint wearing out our blades to the insanely strong titanium joints. But our modern machinery and experienced operators prevail, proving that human ingenuity can deconstruct even the most formidable engineering marvels. The heavy excavators are finally powered down, their massive metal arms resting peacefully on the ground after days of destruction. Mechanics begin the meticulous process of cleaning and inspecting the equipment, preparing them for the next big demolition contract ahead. The worn-out cutting blades are tossed into the scrap pile, a testament to the brutal battle against military paint. Looking at the massive piles of scrap, it is hard to believe they once formed a legendary flying military giant. This project pushed our equipment to the absolute limit, teaching us valuable lessons about aerospace materials and heavy demolition tactics. We will definitely be upgrading our cutting blades for the next military aircraft we dismantle, preparing for that tough paint. The final dump trucks are loaded up, carrying the last remnants of the C5 Galaxy away from the busy scrapyard. We sweep the concrete pad clean, removing every tiny shard of metal and glass, leaving the site completely spotless today. It has been an incredible journey taking apart this colossal machine. We hope you enjoyed watching the entire process. Thank you for watching Demolition Worker. Be sure to subscribe for more epic teardowns of massive